What's going on, guys? Right, Bomby Teacher in the house, and I am here with my GPL W5 Pickem. This time I'm not alone after messing it up pretty badly last week. This time I'm joined by my good friend and currently the one who's destroying the league right now. Say hello, Trancel.
Thanks, man. Hello, yeah. Trancel here from the Hectic High Dragons.
Yeah, please nerf. Nah, all jokes aside though, just a quick side note before we do these pickems, we did have two replacements in the league as both 2D and Leche both continue to fail to play their matches, so they have been dropped for Solo Destroyer, coach of the Wicked Weavers, and Big Nab, two people I actually know from the Mistral Void Guild from Poké 1 from a long time ago. I haven't been there for a while. You actually know Solo quite well, Trancel, don't you?
Yeah, he's in my guild for Poké 1. He's been helping me train. But yeah, I'm quite excited to see how he goes in this.
So what's Solo's main sort of strengths and weaknesses, looking at what you know of him?
He's very, he likes to play a lot of hyper-offensive teams. As you can see, he changed Tango for Scolipede, so that's
Yeah, I was surprised by that change.
Aggressive. Yeah. Leaves him without a grass type, but
it also leaves him without a dragon as well for dropping that Garchomp for Mega Metachamp.
Yeah,
which I agreed with at first, but then having looked down the rest of his changes, I suddenly started to worry. Like I saw the regenerator core broken up, and I was like, that's such a shame, because that was one of the big focal points for 2D's team. If it would have been me, I probably would have dropped it for Amoonguss, because Amoonguss is immune to toxic spikes and so all of that. But either way,
yeah.
I like the aggressive changes. I like the Doublade especially. That mon's that's very dear to me.
Perfectly.
Yeah. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. So we got off, as for those of you who haven't watched these videos before, the way we do our pick'em is I have the teams either side of me here. We talk about matchup, we talk about who we think's going to win, and as always, you guys can laugh at us if we get it wrong. We are currently the two highest ranked players in the league, so we may be better battlers than we are at predicting. But we'll soon find out. I think I only got 3 right last week, and 2 games didn't even go ahead. Alright, so we've got our new boy Solo here. He's actually up against Pelly, the coach of Niagara Pelipers, who's actually had a hard time in the last couple of weeks. He kind of got a little bit blown up. I think a lot of that was his too much eagerness to play all his matches at once. He literally played 2 matches in the space of 2 hours, and he kind of got punished for it with his lack of prep. How do you see this match turning out?
That Mega Alakazam's a huge threat to Solo, as either he runs a Scarf User or Scolipede gets a Protect up, but apart from that, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, I mean, the only real things that kind of hit Solo pretty hard are flying, which Pelly doesn't have any, and I think fire was the other one that hits relatively okay against the team. I also like Fairy. Fairy is actually kind of strong against Solo's team. Mega Alakazam does get Dazzling Gleam, so he may be able to have an option there to beat the Metachamp with that. Also gets Shadow Ball as well to hit things like the Doublade a little bit harder. The thing that kind of concerns me about Pelly's team especially is he dropped Kyurem Black for Excadrill. Excadrill doesn't fit on this team at all, in my opinion. Kyurem Black is way stronger. Also a transfer that's not for this week, but for next week, he actually dropped the Raikou, his only electric type, for a Tangrowth Solo actually just dropped, which makes him even weaker, in my opinion, for even going into next week.
Weird.
What's interesting to me about both of these teams is neither one of these teams really prioritize entry hazards or hazard removal. On Solo's team, he's only got 2 defoggers in the form of that Taunty and the Rotom Wash, and on Pelly's team, he only has the Excadrill for Rapid Spin and a defogger in Gliscor. So it's kind of interesting that neither one of them prioritize hazards, whereas a lot of teams in Draft League, I've got 5 Stealth Rockers on my team, which I think I was talking to Exostomp and he was memeing on me saying I need a 6th one. But yeah, I do like Mimikyu though for Pelly. I think Mimikyu actually has a chance to put in work this match, depending on what comes, but it does kind of struggle a little bit to break the Diancie. That may be an issue. Other than that, I feel like it's a heavily Solo favoured matchup. I don't know much about Solo in terms of Draft League prowess. He has said it's his first appearance, so I'm looking forward to see what he comes. If he's a good team builder, that's always a good place to start. I always say better team builders make the transition from ladder to Draft League a lot easier.
For sure.
So I gotta put this as a comfortable win for Solo, I think. I don't think it's gonna be a close one.
Yeah, I think so as well. I'd have to
The
put
key
that
part,
down.
of course, though, is that Mega Alakazam going down. That's going to be the key. If
Yep.
if he can't break the
People
Alakazam,
gets
then it's a
people
good
gets
matchup.
his pursuit, right? If I remember correctly.
Yes, it does. It also gets Shadow Sneak.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Could definitely work well with that.
yeah, and also if Gyarados gets a Dragon Dance up, it could be a thing with
Yep.
Crunch. But yeah, let's move on to the next battle. The next one is the other newcomer who I don't actually know much about with Big Nab. He doesn't actually have a team name yet, so I just put Team Big Nab there. And he's up against Crasher, who's in very good fine form recently with 2 very convincing wins in a row. How do you see this one turning out?
Well, Big Nab's got it's like a weird rain team with Scum, Chansey as its core, with Heracross to hit really hard. Have to think about this a
I
little
feel
more.
like my primary concern with Big Nab's team is how slow it is. Like, outside of Kabutops in Rain and Arcanine at base 95 speed, there's not really a lot of speed on this team. And usually when I see slow teams, my first thought is Trick Room. Now, I had to look down at every single one of his mons, not a single one gets Trick Room. So, he's in a position here where he's got a slow team that can easily get punished by the aggression. We've seen Crasher use some very aggressive mons, like Carmine Jirachi's been a thing the last couple of weeks. Mega Tyrannodar, of course, hits incredibly hard on that physical side. Zygarde 50%, so versatile, quite hard to play against. Alongside that, he's got some real bulk there with the Toxapex and the Mandibuzz that I don't see an easy way for Big Nab to break.
Yeah, the Toxapex's definitely a problem for the Rain team.
I mean, it's not even like there's a easy creative strat. It's just like, use this and it wins. I don't see a clear win condition. Like, we always usually associate Mega Heracross with a Trick Room team. There's not a lot of positions for it. I'm even looking for screens, anything like that, and I'm not seeing any. I mean, Magneton gets Light Screen. I believe it gets Reflect as well. But, it's kind of a risky one. It's a very odd pseudo-rain team. I mean, it's better than Leche Stall team, that's for sure, but it's... I don't see it being much better. He does have some good natural bulk, though. The Gastrodon is obviously solid bulk. Skarmory, of course, known for it being a physical wall. But I don't think the bulk that he has is enough to be able to handle the amount of offense that Crasher can bring.
Yeah.
I can even see something like Kamala coming and putting in a lot of work. No joke. Like, there's not really too many resists to Kamala when you look at it.
Yeah, you can always run the Sleep Talk Last Resort set.
Yeah, with
how
Choice Band.
Kamala's ability works.
With Choice Band, yeah. I mean, the only things that really wall that is Skarmory, potentially Magneton. But even then, you can just run like another Choice Band set with Earthquake. Earthquake obviously hits the Magneton and the Kabutops, so...
Yeah.
Definitely Kamala has some potential. Might be a bit of an out there bring, but I wouldn't put it past Crasher to bring it. Crasher's a very smart player, so... I think this is a convincing win for Crasher. It's going to be an unfortunate baptism of fire for Big Nab, but he might prove us wrong. He might find a way through. I don't know much about him, to be fair. I don't really know anything about his history or anything like that. So I'm interested to see what he does bring, though.
Yeah, I'm going to go Crasher as well.
Alright. Battle number 3. It's going to be an interesting one for me. I like this matchup quite a lot, actually. It's going to be DJ and his DJ Darkness with the Rain Squad, and Dizzy, the Dizzy Wishmakers. He's had a bit of a hard time in the last couple of weeks. I can see this being another comfortable win for DJ. I think DJ has mastered that Rain team incredibly well. I still maintain the issue that I kind of worry about the support for Dizzy's Aggron. Aggron, of course, known for having no recovery, so it does struggle quite a lot if getting worn down by things like Spikes and Stealth Rocks. There's not really any Spikers other than Ferrothorn on DJ's team, but I do think Ferrothorn has a great chance to come this match, as it is a relatively decent soft check to Bulu. It can check quite a lot of the offensive pressure. It checks Donphan, and it also checks things like the Alolan Golem, which I don't think comes, but I think it's a good shot. I think Dizzy may get worn down by entry hazards this week. There's not a lot of removal on Dizzy's team. I think that's going to be the big issue.
Also, I think it's Menifee over the Excadrill.
Oh yeah,
DJ's
well,
team.
we'll sort that out in post-AF. I completely forgot about that.
Yep.
Thanks for reminding me, but yeah, there is a Manaphy on there now. My apologies, I'm a doofus, I forgot to edit that. I forgot DJ made the change. Feel free to flame me in the comments. But yeah. I think DJ is too strong in general.
It's also kind of a fun matchup because obviously T-Tar's there, so Weather War is definitely on.
Does it come though? I wouldn't see a world where Tyranitar's beating a lot of that team. Like, even Conkeldurr can come and wall it.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure if Tyranitar does come. I think it's a risky bring, especially against the rain setup. I mean, it can outspeed Pelipper if it's not a max speed one, but it doesn't live, or it doesn't kill, unless it crits a Stone Edge, if it's fully physically defensive.
Yeah.
I think it's a risky bring to bring it, but I could definitely see it coming. I think Manaphy may not come either for DJ because of that Bulu.
Yeah.
Especially if Bulu runs Assault Vest. That could kind of be interesting. I think Bulu is actually kind of obnoxious in this matchup though. It beats the Swampert 1v1. It can beat Manaphy. I think Bulu's a big threat for Dizzy, and it's going to be a question of can he play around that threat well enough. I also like Dragalge quite a little bit as well. Dragalge is actually kind of interesting in this match. Obviously it's really slow, but it's got a lot of special defense. So it can definitely take on the Kingdra, which may be the big threat here as well.
Greninja could be nice as well to use the rain.
Yeah.
Back at it.
It's a shame that it's only allowed Torrent. And wouldn't that be nice if it had Protean? But yeah. Unfortunately, it's too strong otherwise. But yeah, Sigilyph might be an interesting wall. I don't know how he brings it. He could bring a Psycho Shift set if to burn the Swampert. If Swampert comes. DJ's actually been known in the last couple of matches to kind of not really use Swampert that much. He didn't even bring it in 1 week. I think it was against Pelly. He didn't bring it. So I'm interested to see what he brings. I think Dizzy is a creative player though. Denisio rates him very highly. He helps with his team building. So I think it's a tough match, but I'm going for DJ again to maintain his undefeated streak.
I'm gonna be crazy and go Dizzy in this one. I think he can pull some really creative sets.
I like it.
Out and surprise it.
I like it. Go the opposite way just so one of us gets laughed at. I like it. Alright, number 4 is gonna be... I don't know if Titania's back. I've seen him in the Mr. Void Discord recently. I hope he's alright. But yeah, either way, it's gonna be the Loyal Macacos versus Sylvie's Miami Sylveons. I don't know where to put this match actually, because when I looked at this match before, I was kind of thinking, oh, first up, I was looking at that Megalophly Percephalon, and I was like, that's pretty brokenly strong in this kind of format, especially if we play it up with the Aerodactyl and the Buzzwole. And then I look at Sylvie's team, and I think, actually, I kind of like Sylvie's team here. Like, I like the Megaladios. It could actually beat both the Lopunny and the Percephalon if it gets set up. Keldio's kind of okay. I also like Red Bombi and Jolteon quite a lot. The other thing that's kind of slept on here, though, is kind of the potential weather setup with the Ninetales and Lilligant. Ninetales actually can hit quite a fair few of the Loyal Macacos team, as can Lilligant in a way, obviously. So I'm interested to see if Sun does come. It might not. I think it has a chance of coming, but it does kind of lose a little bit to Aerodactyl, which may be an issue.
Yeah. It's a interesting matchup for sure. That Togekiss is quite a big threat with the number of fighting types he's got, and the Garchomp especially does a really good job there.
That's true, especially if it's a Choice Scarf set.
Yeah.
Choice Scarf Air Slash can be kind of annoying. Flinch Haxing all day long. It actually also outspeeds Megalophony if it's Scarfed. So that could be a real possibility. Sylvie, if you're watching this and you haven't built your team yet, run Scarf Togekiss. You're welcome. Or don't. Just don't. Nah. Yeah. I don't know. I think he's got an interesting matchup.
And I'm curious if he'll stop running that Z move Mew with the metronome, or he'll just keep doing it.
This is Sylvie here. Like, if it's me and I'm predicting what Sylvie does, either way I'm gonna look stupid because he's probably gonna watch this and do something different just to spite me. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not terrible. I actually kind of like Z-move on Lilligant. It's an interesting Z captain to run, that's for sure. I'm not really sure why Samurot's a Z captain. I guess it's just because he needed the low tier points, because Mew is quite a high tier. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I think he'll continue to run Z Mew.
He hasn't bring Ditto at all this season, from what I've seen. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he hasn't brought it at all. I mean, Ditto's kind of one-dimensional though.
Yeah.
I feel like Ditto would be better even in the weather matchup when you've got a Swift Swim abuser, because you can just scarf the Swift Swim and then revenge kill that way. I don't really see what the Ditto's going to be revenge killing this match. I mean, Mega Lopunny maybe, you could Ditto it in on that. But then you're not going to want to scarf a fake out. It could be kind of risky. I always find that with Ditto actually, which is why I've never drafted it. It's just too one-dimensional for my liking. Either way though, I kind of like the offensive pressure that Sylvie has. I feel like Gaza has solid offense, but his bulk is kind of lacking a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like if Sylvie can overcome the bulkier side of the team, particularly around the Venus or the Boswell's got a little bit of bulk on it. Potentially that Milotic if it's running Marvel Scale. If he can get around that, then I think Sylvie wins. If he can't get around that, I think Gaza wins. That's where I see that one.
I think the Jolteon's got a pretty phenomenal matchup here. Maybe Expert Belt, probably.
Or even just a Life Orb.
Has really sold him. Yeah.
I think he may need a Life Orb for the additional damage. But even a spec set with things like Volt Switch, Shadow War, that kind of hits pretty odd. You can even run like a quick feat set with Flame Orb. That will then allow him to outspeed things like the Aerodactyl, which naturally is very similar speed to. It'll also allow him to outspeed the Lopunny if he doesn't run priority. So I could definitely see that coming. Although I don't know how creative Sylvie is. I think Sylvie tends to run relatively close to standard ice sets with some like minor variations. But I don't know. I think it's a close one. My money's going to be on Sylvie, I think, which is unusual. Normally we bet on Sylvie losing, but
I saw that's a thing.
Yeah, we always have a bit of an unwritten rule that Sylvie always loses. But yeah, we're backing you, Sylvie, so please don't let us down.
Yeah.
Alright, next matchup is going to be the Clash of the Shadows this week. It's going to be Crimpix versus Shadow AX. I really like Crimpix. I think he's a really cool guy. He's kind of been like the draft league sponge, I'm going to refer to, because obviously being brand new, he's literally absorbed every bit of advice that multiple people have given him, and he's improved week on week. Like this week against me, yes, I 5-0'd him, so it seems a little bit odd that I'm saying that, but he took the time to go and learn the trick room, learn how it works and things like that. It was just mechanical misplays that put him in a really bad position. Some of his move slot choices as well were kind of a little bit weird. I had the chance to talk to him about it privately afterwards. He did DM me his team. There were some definite weird move choices. He didn't have Flash Cannon on his Blastoise to take on my Florges, for example, and things like that. He ran SD on Rhyperior on a more defensive set. But I feel like with some fine-tuning and not relying on Fortress, I think he actually can be kind of threatening, actually. He's got a very threatening offensive team with that Blastoise, the Victini, even the Salamence, you know, really scary mons.
Yeah, Victini has a pretty disgusting matchup in this, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And break the Skelly Venusaur core. And if it's scarfed, it can outpace the Ninetales as well.
Yeah, one thing I notice a lot about Crimpix is he likes to run Z-move on Victini, because he's not really going to want to run Z-move on Rhyperior, and I haven't seen a world where he doesn't run a Z-move. So it may be a bit of a need for some flexibility. Of course, Victini is a mon I know very dear to me. I had it in my last season of the GPL when I took it to the final, when I ran a different set every week. Victini is incredibly versatile. It's got so many moves that it can run. I feel like with the right mastery, Crimpix's matchup is actually really strong. But I feel like Shadow's an incredibly smart player. Like, he won the league last season for a reason, right? He's very, very creative. He brings a lot of very creative tech, so he's gonna have answers for that Victini. One glaring answer I can see is that Slowbro, straight away. Super bulky.
Yep.
If it runs fully physically defensive and a physical Victini comes, then Slowbro just sits in on it all day and just clicks Scald.
It does have the Bolt Strike, but it probably...
Even on fully phys def, though, it doesn't two-shot.
Oh, well.
I know, I had to prep against the Slowbro last season when I played against Titania, who had it, and I ended up calcing it, and it actually worked out better for me to run Special Victini and run Thunderbolt. Because, like, if he ran physical defensive Slowbro, Bolt Strike at max did like 40%. Which is insane. Slowbro's so good physically bulky wise. So that might be something that Krimpix might need to consider. I don't think Special Victini hits as hard, and I don't know if it breaks the Celesteela as easily. I do think that Krimpix's matchup is good, but I'm not sure I can trust, at this point, Krimpix to be able to execute the move choices just yet. If this was later in the season, I would say Krimpix may have a better shot at winning, but right now my money's on Shadow. I think Shadow is almost a little bit too strong right now. He's too creative and too experienced. Much like me last week against Krimpix, I think it's a similar situation. But again, Krimpix is the kind of danger man in a way, because he may be the lowest ranked player in the league, but he's the one that's improving so fast. It's actually kind of scary. I'm glad I don't have to play him again. I messed that up last week. I thought I played him again last week. It turns out I play Huddled again. So
I think I play him again in week 9, so we'll see how far he's come.
Yeah, that'll be a fun match as well. But yeah, my money's on Shadow this week. Shadow AX, that is.
There's a lot of fun things that Krimpix could bring, but I think Shadow's experience just might be a little too much here.
It's almost like everything that Krimpix knows about his team, Shadow knows and more right now. But it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It'll be interesting to see how many Mons Krimpix kills. He was celebrating that he killed my Monster last week, which was kind of worrying. But we'll see how it goes. Alright, battle number 6 is one between two good friends of mine, actually. Team Agoshi, of course, versus Huddled Penguin and the Huddled Heracrossing. I feel bad for Huddled a lot of the time because I've helped him build his teams. And obviously he got thrashed by me, and then last week Denistrio thrashed him as well, so it's a good momentum, but a downward momentum for him, which is kind of scary. And Goshi's team is incredibly threatening. As you know yourself, you had to play against it, and I've played against it as well. It's so hard to break down that offense. It's insane how much damage output he can put out.
Yeah.
One thing I do like, though, actually, while we're on the topic of Huddled, actually, is finally dropping that Entei. I said this to Huddled quite a few times, like, in what world are you bringing Entei and not Megazord X? Like, I feel like the double fire type doesn't really work, and they're both physical fire types as well. I also like Whimsicott a lot because he now gets an extra defogger that's not weak to rocks. Obviously, Zardex being heavily weak to rocks before Mega Evolving, and you don't really want to run defog on Sizzle if you can avoid it. So actually having a mon that's kind of a dedicated defogger is actually really nice. It also adds a grass type to his team, which he didn't have. He also didn't have a fairy type either, other than Clefable. So, and he has a bit of a tendency to not always want to bring Clefable. So I do like the trade, but I don't think Whimsicott here helps him too much other than beating the Crocodile.
He did bring Entei up last week over the Charizard.
I told him to do that, yeah. I told him to bring Scarf Entei to beat the Beedrill without needing to set it up.
Yeah.
he had Zardex on his team when he showed me originally, and I was like, in what world are you going to set up a Dragon Dance against the Beedrill? And he's like, I don't know. I said, yeah, you're not. It's as simple as that, because he'll just either U-turn out on you, and then just go into a check, or you just cannot set up because he'll have chipped you down.
The Nistro had Tapu Fini, so...
as well, yeah, which made it even harder. But how do you see this match playing out?
I think Rizzion is decent.
Yeah, I
That's
think
up here.
Parisian's not bad, actually. Looking at it a little bit closer. I do worry about him beating Sizzle, though.
Yeah.
I mean, the Darmanitans there that basically nuke things. Darmanitan hits a lot of his team. I'd almost be tempted not to choice the Darmanitan this week. I feel like choice Darmanitan is obviously really strong. We obviously do see it with Scarf most of the time. But I'll be interested to see if he runs like a Life Orb set instead.
Yeah.
And how
Definitely
different that would be.
outspeed a lot.
Yeah, that's the one thing about
Already.
Huddle's teams. It's kind of slow outside of Espeon at 110 speed and Zardex at base 100. He also tends to bring very similar teams. And I feel like if Agoshi's watched some of the other matches that Huddle's lost, I feel like Agoshi's probably going to figure out the same sort of thing that we all did. I've got a stupid fly on my window, no way.
I think Azelf kind of goes in.
What kind of Azelf set goes in now? Like a spec set?
Like Life Orb. It's flame, right?
It gets Fire Blast. I don't know if it gets Flamethrower as well. I'll actually check that on my other screen. Azelf. Can't type.
It's got reasonable bulk. Like,
I mean, by reasonable bulk, it's got base 70 on both both defenses and 75 HP. It's not the bulkier of ones. Just check if it gets Flamethrower. It does get Flamethrower, yeah. It does actually get a wide move pool. I'm not sure how effective it's gonna be though. It's got a good speed tier though. At base 115, it does outspeed every unboosted mon on Huddle's team. So I could definitely see him running things like knockoff, getting rid of things like the Clefable's bulk, things like that. Definitely if Huddle runs a Banded Scissor, that could be interesting. He does tend to like to run Steelium Z on it though, interestingly enough.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, most of the teams that he's run that I haven't built for him, he's tried running Steelium Z Bullet Punch. Go figure. I'm not sure why he likes that set, but he likes that set quite a lot. I mean, I do like Mamoswine in this matchup for Huddled quite a lot.
Yeah,
especially if he runs like a Scarf set.
Really.
I could definitely see Scarf Mamo being a thing. Even Choice Banded Mamo looks good here. Let's see. Scarf Persimmon may not be bad either. But I do worry about that matchup into Zapdos.
Zapdos really solid here.
I mean, Mega Mobile plus Zapdos in general is like super strong.
Yeah.
I feel like if Agoshi brought the same team that he brought against you, more or less, I feel like he wins this comfortably. Or the same team that he brought against Exostomp. In week 3, I think it is, he played Exo. I feel like that kind of team will be strong. The Mega Mobile, the Zapdos, the Crook, the Darm. I would prefer Starmie over Lantern personally. Although Lantern can soft-check the Electros relatively okay. And then Weavile comes in at the end as a cleaner.
Yeah, that Amy brought against Exo, yeah.
Yeah, that's the team that he brought,
sure.
more or less. I feel like I'd pick Agoshi to win this match if I was using my brain, but I really want Huddle to win because he's the one I brought to the draft league. So, I feel like I have to pick Agoshi here. I feel like Agoshi's mons is really strong. And Huddle doesn't really have the best answers in the most parts.
I'm gonna go with Goshi as well.
Alright, so I'll let you take this one without me having input because the next match is actually going to be my match versus Exostomp. I'm interested to see what you think about this because I know what I think about it.
Okay, so I haven't looked into this at all. Mega Aerodactyl, huge threat outside of the Hawlucha. I'm guessing it. Haluch's high jump kick doesn't kill the Aerodactyl.
It doesn't, no.
Uh,
It will kill me if it crits, or it will have a chance to kill me after rocks. But it won't kill me otherwise. And that's assuming I don't run bulk. If I run fully fizzed F at Mega Aero, he can't kill me at all.
Stone Edge, obviously, but
even that doesn't kill. He has to crit with that for Mega Physical Aero. I actually see a world this week where Holucha doesn't even come.
Yeah, it's...
Because I have a Celebi, I have a Mudsdale,
well.
I have a Florges, I have a Cresselia that practically sticks 2 fingers up to Holucha and says what you're going to do.
Kind of huge.
I love Mudsdale. 3 weeks in a row, it's put in good work for me. I do have a bit of a talking point for Exo though, as he dropped the Comfy for Delphox, giving him a Fire and Psychic type, which he otherwise didn't have. I like Delphox quite a little bit for Power Herb Solar Beam, but I don't feel like that set can come against me. I can definitely see like a sub-card mindset being a bit of an issue though. My issue when I look at Exostomp's team is his team lacks a lot of special bulk. When you look at his team, unless he runs an Assault Vest or like a fully Spadef Seismitoad, his special bulk really doesn't exist. And if I do run the plan teamed, a lot of muck, yeah, but even that isn't that specially bulky. I can still break through that with some of my other mons. Plus being weak to ground and being struggling on the physical side, there's a hell of a lot of ground coverage on my team. It can be quite
Galvantula, I think, has a very good matchup here.
Yeah, funny enough, in my original team, I haven't edited it yet. In my original team, Galvantula doesn't even come. I do have a very heat set that I might bring though, which would be fun.
Using Coco's terrain with Energy Ball for Seismitoad and so on.
Yeah, that's definitely it. It also Galvantula also gets Giga Drain, so Giga Drain is actually probably nicer. Yeah. But like my take on it is, if Glalie comes, it needs to have Ice Shard. I feel like Cloyster has a good matchup against me. My team's actually kind of weak to Ice, which is something I did notice when I drafted it. But I don't feel like his best Ice mons really match up that well against me. Cloyster I can actually beat with a special Infernape. I can also beat the Glalie pretty comfortably. I have plenty of answers for Glalie on my team. Mostly that Infernape, of course. But Infernape actually hits a lot of his team incredibly hard. Because of Infernape's coverage moves, even things like Seismitoad don't necessarily want to switch in. If I run special, I can actually run Grass Knot, which Infernape, believe it or not, gets. I had to look at that twice. I was like, huh? Am I looking at the wrong mon here? But no, like, I like a lot of my mons in this matchup. I might run a more offensive team. Exo has a tendency to run a hyper offense. He's tended to use Cloyster or Crossel as a suicide-ish lead for setting up entry hazards. So I'll be interested to see if he does continue that trend.
His team kind of forces him to do that.
Yeah, it does a little bit. He does have some bulkier mons, but he's having to run pseudo bulk as opposed to the pure natural bulk that my team has with the Cresselia, of course, the Registeel, the Florges, all really decent naturally bulky mons. Celebi as well can be a really good bulky mon. Tentacruel's not a bad specially bulky mon, which is partly why I drafted it. And obviously Mudsdale with really good physical bulk and the stamina ability really has been very helpful for me. But yeah, the biased opinion says I win this match. The unbiased opinion says it's going to be a close one.
It's a tough one for me. It'll be a really fun battle to watch. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go for Rombi.
Ah, fair enough. Yeah, I was actually thinking you were going to go for Exo there, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, the last matchup is... yeah, it's this one. It's you versus Denistia. I actually really like this match even more than I like mine, because Denisio is obviously gaining a lot of momentum recently. He's been playing very solid with his improved team. It's a lot harder to prep for this week. And I feel like now he's got a better team. It's actually hard to prep for. He has to play me next week as well, so that's going to be interesting. But I feel like your team is just very solid against him in general. I really like the Mega Gallade quite a lot. The Lando T with that Intimidate can be annoying for the poor Beedrill that doesn't want to stay in. Lando actually hits a lot of his team.
I don't even think the Beedrill's coming with Wheezing and Landers, but
I think
he could bring it for other things.
Yeah, I think it could come because it matches up against Superior pretty well. It matches up against Primarina relatively well. It can take on the Alolan Persian, but it's got to be careful of the parting shot, of course. But other than that, like, I mean, Mashana I don't ever see coming, honestly. I don't know. There is a world where Mashana does come, but I think it's too narrow for me. But I feel like the threats really come. I don't see Lando T coming for you as such. I do think it can beat the Volcanion, but I don't think Volcanion comes. I'll be interested to see if Denisio explores the Trick Room option. He does, of course, have the Cofagrigus, which is a Trick Room setter extraordinaire. It's also a good Trick Room sweeper on its own. Your team is relatively fast, of course, with that Zeraora especially. Lando T is pretty quick. So I'm interested to see what Denisio tries to bring against you, knowing what Agoshi did. I feel like your matchup's pretty comfortable into him. I feel like I predict you to win this. Whether it'll be a big margin or not depends on what Denisio brings. I don't think he's gonna get the easy setup for Kommo-o like he did against Huddled. I feel like the Kyurem is kind of the stumbling block in a way. A bulky Kyurem set could definitely be annoying. Even things like Palossand can come and be annoying for Kommo-o.
Sure. Yeah, I've got quite a few thoughts about this game, obviously, because it's mine. But...
Go ahead. Be biased, be honest, say what you think.
I feel like Scarf's superior. Just, I can run a lot of HP investment because I outspeed everything, barring his Beedrill. That's pretty huge here.
But how do you beat... Well, I guess you can run like Hidden Power Fire on the Beedrill, for the Beedrill, but...
And yeah, I can just beat that Zeraora's got a match up here, as it seems to always do.
Yeah, I mean, Zeraora's too broken. I think it needs to be a tier 1 pick for next season. I think it's just too strong. It's interesting, actually. I was talking to a couple of other friends of mine who are in other draft leagues, and Zeraora's tier 2 in theirs. But the person that's had it in each of their leagues has not used it anywhere near as well. So I find that quite interesting.
Just its coverage, and yeah, it's picked up so much speed. It's just basically an electric Inferno to me, basically.
Well, it's even stronger
Except
than that
even
in
faster.
that way. Yeah, it's 143 base speed, gets set up on both sides, gets really solid coverage, and it gets pivoting as well. I believe it gets both pivot moves as well, which is kind of annoying. It's just such an interesting mon. I'll be interested to see how well it can do this matchup though, and what Denisio has up his sleeve to answer it. I like Wheezing quite a little bit as well. Wheezing actually has an alright matchup. It can beat the Breloom, which I think is
can obviously
an interesting
set up T-spikes and Tapu Fini have to take them. The Trancel.
Yeah, there's no grounded poison type on Denisio's team. I don't know if the Beedrill counts as grounded, because it is bug poison.
No, it does. It does.
It does. So that is his removal in a way. He could run some kind of weird poison heal subset for Breloom to try and take advantage of it, but it still won't take a flamethrower comfortably. Or a sludge bomb. I think, if I'm honest, I want Denisio to win. Just because I want the #1 spot in the power rankings. But I feel like this match is really in your favor. I feel like it's not as difficult as Agoshi was against you. So my money's going to be on you, and obviously your money's going to be on yourself. Although it would be funny to bet against yourself.
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
Gotta be confident, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna win. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this one's gonna be the hype match for the week. Maybe my match might be hype. I'm not sure. I don't know what Exo's got in store for me. I rather jokingly said to him, if you need a hand building your team, feel free to let me know. But yeah, in typical banter between the two of us. But yeah, either way, that's gonna be all the matches this week. I'm looking forward to actually having 8 matches instead of only having 6. That's gonna be fun. We've got some newbies in. I'm looking forward to seeing how well they do in their first weeks. And that's gonna be all from us. So thank you, of course, for joining me, Trancel. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me.
Alright guys, that's going to be the end of the Pickem for this week. My name is Red Bomby Teacher, I'm your coach of the Royal Bournemouth Bombies. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.